In Part 4, we talked about how to assess your child, how to build up an accurate picture of what she can do now. It is time now to decide what to teach next. We call this setting objectives. Objectives tell us what we are aiming for. They describe what the child will be doing when he has mastered the next step in the sequence of learning. In his assessment, Ross was able to select familiar objects when given a choice of 2. The next step in this sequence is selecting objects with a choice of 3. This becomes Ross's new objective.
Ross, show me Dolly. Here's Dolly. You show me Dolly. There's Dolly.
Phil knows from the assessment that this is the right step for Ross, a step that will give him a good chance of success. Phil's objective tells her exactly what to aim for.
Ross, show me pig. You found pig. That's right, you found pig. Good.
In this session, we will talk about how to select objectives which give your child a good chance of making progress. Have a look at your completed assessment forms, your DSI. You will have a column of pluses and minuses, like this. First, identify the earliest failures in each skill area, the gaps in your columns of pluses. Make a note of these items. Catching up in weak areas has a high priority. Now, look at some of the more advanced items on which your child has scored well. These are areas of strength which could now be extended. Identify your child's weak areas and strong areas in all aspects of her development. Gross motor, fine motor, language, and personal and social skills. This procedure may give you a long list of possible objectives, more than you could hope to teach at any one time. Let's look now at some ways to reduce your list further. First, look up each possible objective in the sequences in Part 2 of your Small Steps manual. Here you will find more information about each item, why it is taught, and what is involved. Next, consider which objectives could be part of your normal daily activities. You will find that many skills can be taught with no special time being set aside. They will simply help you to make the most of the time you are already spending with your child.
Oh, I don't think it's dry. Do you think it's dry? No, it's still wet. What about this one? It's still wet. We can't take that off either. And I think that's still wet too. Oh, dear. We'll have to wait till the sun comes out, won't we? Hold your hands out like that. No, chill hands. Ready, set. See? That's better, isn't it? I've just got one more plate left, and then the knives and forks. They're in there in the water. squeeze the dishcloth out. That's it. Really tight so there's no water left in it, darling. That's right. Now Mummy will run the cold water and you wash all the suds down the sink with the dishcloth. Please. Wash the suds down the sink. Look. They're all going. They're gone. Now can you wipe the sink out for me? That's right. Yeah. I'll put some more water now. Wash the sink out. That's a good girl. Now squeeze it really tight. That's right.
Get more water.
You got it? Well, squeeze it really tight with 2 hands. That's right. So tight there's no more water left. Leave it there and the job's all finished.
When you have identified the objectives that will not take extra time, consider how much time you could set aside each day for special teaching sessions with your child. Most preschoolers work best in short sessions of about 10 minutes, and you will be able to practice about 3 objectives in each 10-minute session, depending on your child and on the objectives that you choose. But your list may still be too long. If so, choose the objectives that seem most important to you. Chances are that these will be the ones that are most important to your child, too, and the skills you must leave aside now can always be taught later. Keep in mind that you are aiming to extend your child in both her weak and her strong areas, and aim for a selection of objectives which will combine to make a varied and interesting teaching session. Now, there may be one more problem. What if the next objective in the normal developmental sequence represents too big a step for your child? Your Small Steps manual suggests in-between steps for many items. You can work through these in-between steps, each one becoming your objective in turn. But if these steps are still too big, or you want to teach a skill not covered by this program, there is something more you can do. You can use a procedure called task analysis. Task analysis means breaking a task down into all the separate actions which are needed to perform it. These actions can then be taught one by one. Let's watch Christopher taking off his t-shirt. Because Christopher is good at taking off his t-shirt, he does it in one continuous movement. But in fact, many separate actions are involved. Let's have a look at them. We can describe Christopher's actions like this. First, he pulls the neck of his t-shirt up over his head. Second, he locates the hem of his t-shirt and pulls it up and over. Third, he uses his right hand to pull his t-shirt off his left arm. Last, he uses his left hand to pull his t-shirt off his right arm. If you were teaching a child to take off a t-shirt, each of these steps could become your objective in turn. You would continue to help your child through the steps that you had not yet taught. Of course, there are many ways to take off a t-shirt, and we could have added extra steps in our analysis of Christopher's technique. There is no single right way to perform such a task, or to analyse it. What matters is that you identify a series of steps that feel right to you and give you a clear plan of action in your teaching program. If you know what to expect, so will your child, and your sense of purpose will help your child to learn. Here again are the basic guidelines for setting objectives. Your objectives should state what your child will be doing when she has mastered the skill. Look up possible objectives in Part 2 of your Small Steps manual to learn more about them. Include in your program any objectives which can be taught without setting extra time aside. Choose some objectives which will help your child to catch up in her weaker areas, and some which will build on her strengths. Choose the objectives which are most important to you, given the time you have available. Aim for a varied, interesting program. If an objective seems too big a step for your child, set a smaller in-between objective which your child will easily reach, so that you will both have a good feeling of achievement. In the next session, we will look at the all-important question of how to teach your child the skills you have selected for her program.